Hello, everybody out there in YouTube world. This is Chris, and of course, this is my channel, Barnon11970. And as always, I want to take the time to thank you all for wanting to listen to what I have to say. And I hope people are starting to see the corruption. I hope people can start seeing this with a more open mind, because I know this stuff is hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, we'll put it that way. And we're seeing more and more of their hold on what's going on loosening. And to me, that's a good thing. So take this with a grain of salt. But if you are a Bernie Sanders follower, so to speak, or fan, whatever you want to say, he knew that the system was rigged since the beginning. He was saying that. So this is not something where we're just making guesses. He said all along he knew it was rigged. With that being said, this is what I think happened. Now, obviously, I'm not in it. I don't know. I'm not on the inside, but it would make sense if this is the case. And, you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm going to share my opinion on this. And it's really sad how they've taken advantage of the Bernie Sanders fans. Now, Hillary knew that she is not the most liked politician in the world. I'm sure even people that are on the Democratic side are not exactly thrilled about her. I mean, she's been in politics for 25 some odd years. No one really can say how much they even know about her in that time. That's never a good sign. So they needed to get a lot more people on the Hillary bandwagon. So how long ago he knew this was a rigged system? I'm sure the people that work in politics are going to know these things. I mean, you're seeing Donald Trump talking about it, and he hasn't been in politics, but I guarantee you he's greased the palms of many a politician to get many of his buildings passed and inspected. If you've ever worked in the construction business, you know that if you want to get certain things to have look the other way, you just got to grease the palms of certain people that are in the electricity section of it, the sheetrocks, the unions. I mean, this is something that I'm hoping people know about. So politicians are no different. You pay them enough money, they'll have a law passed or they won't have a law passed. So we know for a fact that Bernie has said all along, because you could hear it all over the news, that he knew it was rigged. And yet, he took over $8 million worth of contributions. And what he did is he got the younger voters. He got all of these people that probably would not have voted to all of a sudden come to the Democratic Party. And at the last second, when there were no other options, he joins the corporate bandwagon known as Hillary Clinton. Now, I've said this before, both sides are corrupt. Neither side is going to save the world. I don't care how good Donald Trump has been speaking. And he's gathering the attention of people, and that's what these people do. You'll learn the hard way. Either way, you're not going to get what you want. They're going to make you wave your flags. They're going to make you cheer. They're going to say all the things you need to hear. And when it happens, when they're in politics and they're in power, all of a sudden things are going to change. You're going to see that. I've tried to warn people. They don't want to listen. But I'm talking about the fact that he knew that this was a rigged system. He was supposedly running his platform, getting against the corporate-owned parts of politics. And what does he do at the last second? Endorses Hillary Clinton like it's no big deal. And his fans, his followers, booed him. Now, he could have done a Ted Cruz move where he could have not endorsed, or some of the other Republicans who didn't even show up. But he chose to get on board. And they're already saying they're talking about him having a book deal. He even said it himself in the speech that he's going to add this to the chapter of his book. So was he paid in advance? Did he get a certain amount of that $8 million? Because I don't think he's going to give it back to the people. And the people are booing. But basically they're saying, well, you have two choices. You can either vote for Hillary now that you're already here, or you could go with the evil, corrupt Trump and then lose the party. So this could bite them in the rear end, or it could really help them because they got a lot more people on board. Now, how many of those Bernie Sanders fans are going to climb on the Hillary train is beyond me. But you ever notice President Obama and a lot of the mainstream media, they're focusing on the WikiLeaks, which is the WikiLeaks is basically the emails that confirm that the DNC wanted Hillary all along, and they were going to do whatever they could to badmouth Bernie to make that happen. And that's exactly what did happen. You notice that Obama and the other politicians and the corrupt mainstream media, they're focusing on trying to find out who did the WikiLeaks. Notice the first day they already said it was the Russians. How do they know that? You ever notice that the mainstream media is all about opinion? You ever wonder why they always have so many movie stars and actors on? Who cares what their opinion is? Who cares what they feel? They have the quote unquote, all their panel of experts as people you've never heard of, and they just ask their opinions. That's not news. That's gossip. That might as well be the Oprah Winfrey Show. And yet they're focusing on who put out those emails instead of the emails that prove that it's corrupt. Do you see Obama saying, oh, we need an investigation? No. They get a pass, just like Hillary, with her emails that she erased over, I think it was either 30,000 or 300,000. I forget. It's one of the two. Correct me. It's one of the two, but it doesn't matter. It's still a lot. When she was indicted, she erased at least 30,000 emails. And there is nothing going on. As a matter of fact, she's getting rewarded by being our potential president of the United States corporation. So they don't want to investigate the fact that the emails prove that there is corruption, because you see all the news is at least confirming that Bernie Sanders was right all along, that Donald Trump, when he said it, was right all along. And yet they want to focus on who did it. In other words, they attack the whistleblower, the person that cares enough to say, here's the truth. Oh, that person's evil. Oh, we got to get them. We got to stop them. They actually labeled them terrorists. So they don't want to focus or have you focus on the fact that the emails have been confirmed that there is dishonesty and corruption in politics. Duh. And yet, I don't see the president stopping it, investigating it. They want to get the people that put it out. Does that make sense to you? See how you're being used? I'll tell you this much. You want to really send a message? Don't vote for Hillary and don't vote for Trump. Don't vote for anyone. Everyone stay at home. Because if they can't get, I think it's like 270 electoral votes or points or however it goes, there would technically be no president. And we could send one hell of a message. Because like I've said before, let's assume Donald Trump is 100% legitimate. And he wants to legitimately do all the things he says. He's got programs that will work. Let's assume that's the case. Well, who did he hire as his vice president? Is his vice president the same as Donald Trump in the sense that he's not a politician, that he's going in on a different angle, that he's talking about the corruption and the corruption not only in politics but also in the media? No, you have another typical Republican politician. So what's to stop them if he, let's just say for miracle's sake, he becomes president and he's doing all the things that will go against the people that finance this corruption? You don't think they will execute him in a heartbeat and then have Mike Pence become the president? Because that's what happens when the president is assassinated or dies or whatever, or gives up and quits. The vice president is the next person in charge. So they would have the ability to have ride the Donald Trump train, sucker everybody in, and then even if they can't convince him, because he can't be bought. I mean, he's a billionaire. What are they going to do? Offer him another $1 million? So he can't be bought. So let's just say he's 100% legit. They'll just kill him, and then Mike Pence will become the president. Oh, I'm sorry. There'll be a terrorist that kills him. That's what we have to say. And it's sad that it even comes down to this, to the point where it's almost like a joke, almost like it's like a movie that you've seen over and over again, and you know the outcome. But the Bernie Sanders fans, all the people that followed him and did all that work for him, he's going to walk away with another politician's job, because I guarantee you, if it hasn't happened already, I guarantee you Hillary Clinton will have him somewhere to doing work for him. He's going to have his book deal, and who knows, of that 8 million plus in contributions, how much of that went in his pocket, which I'm sure would be an overseas bank account, so you can't prove anything. But the fact that he climbed on board shows that he is at very minimal not the man of his word, because wasn't his whole platform supposed to be about the anti-corporate agenda? And who is he now? Almost instantly, once it got confirmed, he told everybody, we have to now vote for her. Okay, so at the very least, his integrity has been extremely tainted. And at the max end, he knew and they knew that they could get more people to vote and be on their side if they went this certain direction and used all the emotions of people. Because how many times have I said they will sucker you in by using your emotions? That's why people got so emotional and all teary-eyed when they found out all this stuff was happening. And then they're like, well, since you're here, you might as well climb on board. You ever hear of the term lost leader? And I've said this before in business. There's a business term called lost leader. In other words, what they'll do is, let's say, you ever notice why, for example, your local deli or convenience store or one of those small little stores that's nearby will sell maybe eggs or milk cheaper than even the bigger supermarkets? The reason they do it is because if you go in there, let's say the big stores sell a gallon of milk for, let's say, $2.50. Well, the convenience stores will probably sell it for $1.99, even if they lose money on it. The reason that they do that is if they get you to go into the store, they'll think most people will be like, well, since I'm here, I got the milk. Well, you know what? Let me get some bread. Let me buy a couple of lottery tickets. You know what? I need another pack of cigarettes. So they get you to come in and sucker you in to make more payments. I mean, you ever heard of a thing called Black Friday, where they'll have like a 60-inch TV for like $199, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's amazing, because it's normally $700-800. We can get that for $199. Let's go to that store. And there'll be thousands of people. And then they find out there's what? 1 available, 2 available for the thousands that are there. Why do they do it? Because they know once you're there, they figure, well, you know what? They got you there at midnight, because that's when they do a lot of these specials. They do it on holidays now. They started at midnight at Thanksgiving. So they get the people, well, I'm already here. I already drove here. I'm already in the parking lot. There's already thousands of people. I can't get the TV I wanted, but let's see if I can find something else. And you buy whatever you buy. So they sucker people in by telling you what you want to hear, by enticing you with things, the little carrots that they dangle in front of you. And then they pull it out from under you and say, well, you're already here. You might as well just join the club. How does it feel to continually be used? And at this point, I find it so funny that over the years, I've talked about the corruption in politics. I've talked about the corruption in media. They're bought and sold. I and many people have been ignored. We've been ridiculed. And yet, look how right we are. And I'm telling you, they are using your emotions. If you think Donald Trump, and I've said many times, Donald Trump has said some very good things. The fact that he even calls the politicians and calls the media corrupt is the first time I've ever heard that in politics. So I give credit where credit is due. But make no mistake, if he was legitimate, they would murder him. No doubt. So if he's not legitimate, then they are using him for the rah-rah speeches, because how many times has even Donald Trump admitted the Republican Party has been getting donation after donation? They're cleaning house. They're getting a lot of money by suckering people in and saying all the things you want to hear. You'll wave your flags and you'll listen to everything he says and you'll just buy into it. You are drinking the Kool-Aid. So I know most people don't want to hear this. Most people just don't want to care. That's why they don't know about politics. That's why they don't research the history of money. That's why they don't care that the Federal Reserve is a private-owned bank. They don't care about the fact that we borrow money from a foreign bank. They don't care about the fact that the corporations lie and how they use us. They don't care about how our government send your brothers and sisters and sons and daughters to go murder other people that you don't know so we could steal their products so we can get a cheaper DVD player. Nobody wants to care. And yet when this happens, and you know it will, it won't happen right away. If they haven't murdered Trump by now, and I don't want to see anybody murdered, but we know how this is going to go. It's going to happen within the first year. They're not going to do it right away because then it would be too obvious. So it'll have to be within the first year. And then you'll have Mike Pence, who is a typical, regular politician who's next in line to take over. And if Hillary is in, we won't even have to worry about that stuff because she's been in the system for 25 plus years. And a lot of people are going to make the same mistake as they did with Obama. There were a lot of people, and I'm not saying this because I am not racist at all, but you could watch video after video, go back to the days when Obama was about to be elected, and they did interviews with African Americans and said, are you voting for Obama because he's black? And they said yes, and they knew nothing else about him. How many people now, and I said this over a year ago, look at the video I made talking about how Hillary Clinton was going to become president because they're gearing everything to be on TV about women. Because they're gearing you to be prepared for a woman in power. And a lot of women are going to vote for Hillary only for the fact that she's a woman. And that is not the way to pick your leader that's going to be responsible for you and your family. You have to be more responsible than that. Yes, I am sure many women would love to see a woman president, and there should be one someday. But how about one that actually isn't bought and sold? How about one that doesn't delete emails and put over information over the internet that could endanger our country? How many investigations does she need before people say, this one ain't the one? But you don't want to hear it. You want to sit there and pretend, oh, everything's fine because they say so. You know, remember the story of Hansel and Gretel? What did the witch use to entice the children to go into her oven so she could cook them alive? Well, she put out lots of candy, didn't she? And she lived in a gingerbread house, didn't she? Oh, come on in, my children. It's cold outside. Let me warm you by the fire. Here's some nice free candy, little boys and girls. Then she threw them in the oven and killed them and ate them. People just don't want to get it. They think, oh, this will be the time. Even though Obama, who was supposed to be the savior of Bush, oh, he'll do everything. And then the president before that and the president before that. How many times do people have to go through it before they get it? I mean, people can't be that brainwashed, can they? I guess they must be. So the Bernie Sanders fans, the people that did all of that work for him, gave all of that money that will never be returned, has now joined the very system that he was opposed. And you're now going to say, oh, well, I'm here. I might as well just vote for Hillary because she's not Donald Trump. I've said this so many times. If you study symbolism, and the reason symbolism is something that has meaning is because for most of our history, most people could not read and write. So they needed symbols to understand things. That's why you know when a traffic light turns from green to red, you're supposed to stop, even though it doesn't say the word stop. It's symbolism. When you see a door and it shows a picture of a cigarette with a circle and a line through it, it means no smoking. So you can actually understand things through symbolism without having to be able to read a damn thing. Well, if you look at our national symbol of a bird or an eagle, another part of a phoenix, you see its wings always spread apart, gives the illusion of separation. You have a left wing and you have a right wing. Sound familiar? Well, if you follow those wings in, even though when they're spread apart, they look separate and far apart, well, they both connect to the same entity. Republican and Democrat. Pick your poison. There's your freedom of choice. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's like me saying, you have the freedom to choose to pick my left hand to punch you in the face or the right hand to punch you in the face. You have freedom of choice. You get to choose. But I don't think you'll like either one. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to be the buzzkill and the reality kill, but you have on one side Hillary Clinton, who is bought and sold, who is a corporate shill, basically, who is going to do everything that they tell her to do. She's nothing more than a puppet. And then you're going to have Donald Trump, who is basically a warmonger, who's going to bring us to war, who's going to raise prices of everything, because he's going to give you all these stories about how we're just going to walk. What if other countries say, go ahead and walk? What about if he charges the 35-cent tax to Mexico? What about all the products that will now be 35% more expensive? Notice how he talks about how wonderful the cops are, but yet you could see thousands of videos of corrupt cops. You're hearing parts of the story because you don't want to hear the truth. And you will hear it, but when you do, it will be too late. You want to make us change in this system? First of all, we got to walk away from the system, but no one wants to do that because everybody likes their free stuff. Do you think it's a coincidence that over 1/3 of our population is on welfare? We have 110 million people on welfare, which, by the way, and I've said it in other videos, the percentage is 39.8% of people on welfare are black, and 38.8% are white. So it is almost dead even. But they're always trying to tell you that there's a separation. Now, of course, there are going to be some areas that are poorer than others. There are going to be some areas that are richer than others. But the overall average is we're pretty much suffering all the same. And last I checked, isn't Obama still the president? Did you not hear Hillary Clinton's speech, how we need to improve things, how we got to get the economy going? Haven't we been hearing for all these years through the Fed chairmans and everything, and through Obama, that we're in a recovery? Well, if that's the case, why did Hillary not say, we don't need to change anything, we're already in recovery? But yet they'll tell you, Obama will keep telling you everything's great. It's great for him. Of course it'd be great for him. How many days in his presidency did he go and play golf? That's got to be great. How many times when he goes to the bathroom does he have security guards with automatic weapons guarding his every move? I bet that's got to be great. Got to make you feel safe then. People just don't want to get it. They don't want to hear it. People like me will be silenced, will be unheard, will be ridiculed, will be mocked. I'll get those stupid trolls that'll say the stupid things over and over again. But you don't get it. Bernie Sanders fans, you were used to get you on board the Democratic train. They knew from the beginning it was rigged, and yet they still participated in it. What does that tell you about Bernie Sanders' integrity? But yes, he'll put on his little sad face because they are good actors. They're putting one over on the people. And then the people that are on Donald Trump's side, and like I said, I will give credit that he at least called out the politicians and the media for what they are, corrupt, bought, and sold. He is not going to change a thing in a corrupt system. It is not possible because they will murder him or humiliate him to the point where he steps down. And then Mike Pence will be your leader, and he's another politician that's been in the system. I don't understand how people don't get it. We have a couple people that ask a question. 777 says exactly, corruption with impunity. Exactly. Is anybody trying to arrest Hillary Clinton for all the crimes that even the FBI admitted that she did? They don't want to do it. So you get rewarded in politics. So they have all these emails. They have thousands upon thousands of emails that show that the DNC was rigged. And the media is trying to spin it like, oh, this is the first time that ever happened. No, it's the first time we actually have proof of it happening. And yet they're more worried about the people who found the emails and took those emails and made them public instead of the actual emails that confirm there is corruption. Where's the investigation? They don't want you to talk about that. Don't look at that. It's a magic trick. Look over here while we do something over there. The American people, you wonder why the world thinks we're a bunch of idiots. We pretty much, for the majority, most of us are. Give us our free stuff and we'll do whatever you want. So America has 110 million people on welfare. That is over 1/3 of our population. You ever wonder why you keep voting Democratic? Because they'll give you all that free stuff that you think is free. And that's why when Obama became president, we had over $10 trillion in the deficit, which is bad enough, but we have now close to $20 trillion. So it is doubled in his tenure. Well, not even tenure because it's only 8 years, but you get my point. In his time of being president, the deficit has doubled. So all that lovely free stuff that you guys out there, and I'm not saying you listening, I'm talking about the people that will never even hear this stuff or never care to hear it. You love your free stuff. You'll vote for whoever it is thinking it's free, even though you don't realize we're borrowing it from a foreign bank. They only create the principal amount and they never create the interest. You have to borrow more money to pay the interest, which creates more interest, which makes it go higher. And the media is bought and paid for. They'll keep telling you, oh, we got to watch out. We're hitting that debt ceiling. We don't want to fall off the fiscal cliff. They get you with fear. They get you with ignorance. They entertain you. That's why half the news articles out there are asking the opinion of actors. So you have actors asking actors what they want, and they're acting. So yes, Bernie Sanders is going to put on his little tear. He's going to seem really bad. He's going to cry in front of the camera and say, oh, I feel so bad. But come on board anyway. Come on, little Hansel. Come on, little Gretel. Come into the oven. It's warm. You don't want to go outside. It's cold. Here's some nice free candy. Candy's good for you. Remember Pinocchio? Remember when Pinocchio, he was walking to go to school and he gets met by the wolf who gives him the opportunity to go to whatever land it was where all the children would go to play hooky, and they could smoke cigars and shoot pool and eat candy. And what happened? He turned them into what? Donkeys. What's another name for a donkey? A jackass. So he could use them. But come on in, little boys and girls. Come and get your free candy. Nothing bad here. I'm a good wolf. It's so funny how stupid, and I'll just say it bluntly, how stupid the average American voter is. And I am so glad the people that are listening to this, the majority of people that subscribe to my channel and the few that actually pay attention to what I have to say, actually do get it. But as you can see, right now I have 19 people listening to this. If this was some video game channel and I was doing some nonsense or some whatever reality show thing, or just talking about applying makeup to my face or whatever, there'd be thousands of people listening right now. Be entertained. You know, be that little baby that they dangle the keys in front of you. Say, here, little baby, be entertained. This doesn't require thoughts. Just look at it. Listen to the jingle. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So Bernie Sanders fans, if you're out there, I would love to hear your comments. I would love to hear what you think about this. Instead of voting for Hillary or voting for Trump, don't vote at all. Don't waste your time. Otherwise, you're voting for, I want to choose, I want to get, do I want to get punched in the face by the left hand or the right hand? Which one is better? One might be stronger, but neither one you're going to sit there and say, oh, that was such a wonderful experience. But it is your free will. It is your freedom of choice. That's why no other parties ever get they ever get a chance to become president. It's either Republican or Democrat. Yep. Freedom of choice. And then people say, well, I'm going to vote for one of them because I don't like the other one and this one's not as bad. You ever hear the expression, you know, the lesser of two evils is still evil? You know, if you had the choice and say, well, I could pick Satan or I could pick Satan's son. Let's see. Who should I vote for? Let's see. Satan's pretty bad. Satan's son's probably, you know, he doesn't have the reputation yet because he's younger and we don't know what he's done. So, you know what? I'll vote for Satan's son because he'll probably be better. Do you think all of a sudden you're going to get nothing but chocolate chip cookies in your bed every day and he's going to kiss you goodnight, tuck you in, and solve the world's problems? I mean, please watch this with one of your Republican or Democratic friends and just, you don't have to say it, I'll say it. If you are going to vote for Hillary or Donald Trump, thinking they are actually going to change the system, even despite how many presidents have tried and failed, and the ones that even get close to it get murdered, if you think this time is going to be different, you're a flat-out idiot. You don't get it, you never will, and you're going to get exactly what you wish for. You get what you give. If you're going to vote based on the fact that, oh, I'm going to vote for Hillary because she's a woman, and I'm a woman, we need a woman. We're told all the time now by all these feminists and all these different movements, which, by the way, are sponsored by men because they sucker you in. Again, why do you think men wanted the feminist movement to work. Let's enlighten people about this. Instead of the anger and the people that don't get it, let's put it in perspective why they wanted the feminist movement. Because before the feminist movement, women mostly stayed at home. The men provided. They did the work. Now, did we like doing that? I'm sure we didn't. I'm sure we would like to not be working and actually spend time with our wife and our family and go do things like go on vacations and do lovely things together. But because there are bills and we have to pay for all these things we supposedly need, thanks to the television and the commercials telling you need all this crap, we have to go to work and pay for all these bills that even though electricity should be free, they actually monitor it, so you have to pay for it. So they sucker you in, so you have no choice but to work, because that's what slavery is all about, doing the work for the other people so they can profit and benefit off of your labor. Okay, so when you get paid, what is the first thing they take out of your paycheck? They take out taxes. So when they took taxes out, they were only getting it from half the country. Because since primarily only men were working, half of the country was not being taxed. So you start a feminist movement and you start working on people's emotions, and they use, like they say, drowning in good intention. They take some good intention people and then they put corruption into it and make you not realize what it is. It's all about power. It's all about this. And what happened? The women went to the workforce. And what did it do? It now doubled the revenue that the government can take out of your taxes. They did the same thing with cigarettes. I've already made this story, but in case you've never heard of it before, let's educate people on how you're being used based on your emotions. Back in the early 1900s, pretty much only men smoked. It was a man thing. It was kind of inappropriate for women to smoke at that time. People today don't want to hear that stuff, but that's what the reality is. And we're not talking La La Land, we're talking reality land. So before the early 1900s, women primarily didn't smoke. It was mostly a man thing. So the tobacco companies, again, were only getting half of the population smoking. So they wanted to figure out a way that they could get double the amount of profits. So what they did was, when they were having the women's movements with the rights to vote and everything like that, they got all of the most powerful, influential women at the time to start smoking, and they got reporters to follow them. And what it did was it made women associate power with smoking the cigarette, because look at those women, they're doing what men are doing. Wow, that's powerful. I want to do what they're doing. So they started smoking. So guess what? The tobacco company, by taking advantage of people's emotions and using them against them, got double the people smoking their product. And even to this day, even though you know it'll kill you, even though you know it's bad for you, even though this has been a fact for decades, you'll still buy it. You'll still do them. You'll still feel like you need them. It's ridiculous. So people are being used, and the sad part is people like me are going to be ignored and yelled at. Oh, listen to him. All he does is complain. Yeah, because I am aggravated at the stupidity of 99% of these people in the world. Will get you aggravated too. And I'll give you an example of this, how it's not me being angry, it's me being passionate in the difference. And I'm going to give you a scenario I hope never happens. Let's say you have a 4-year-old child, and you're sitting out, have your child sitting out playing in the front yard, you're doing dishes or watching TV, whatever you're doing. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female. And you tell your child, do not run out in the middle of the street. And all of a sudden, you look out the door to just check up on your child, and you see that your child is now sitting in the middle of the street. And you see a truck in the distance coming. And you run out to pull your child back right before the truck hits that child. Are you going to sit there and say, see, let's say your child's name is John. See, Jonathan, I told you you should not sit in the middle of the street because it's not good for you. No, you're going to be like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're going to be mad. You might even slap the child. I don't recommend it, but there have been many people that have done it. They're not doing it because they hate the child and they want to abuse him. It's like, what were you thinking? Hello, McFly, slap in the head. It's because you care. So I'm saying this the way I'm saying it, maybe to get a point across, because some people are just so stubborn and too stupid to understand it. They want all that free stuff because they think it's free. How long do you think a government can continually borrow money before they get called on the tab? Ever remember that TV show Cheers with Norm, and how Norm was always putting beer on his tab? Do you think in reality they would let him go years without paying before they kicked him out and never let him in again? Or shut him off? No, but they kept doing it because that's La La Land. So all you people, and I'm not talking about you guys listening because you get it, but if you get to listen to this with a friend or a family member or a loved one or a coworker, tell them I said smack them in the head because you're idiots, because you think you're getting all this free stuff. There's a reason why you're getting that free stuff, because you think it's free. They're not going to tell you the consequences, and they're going to get your vote, and they're going to get you on their side. They're going to get you to wave your flags. They're going to pay off people to pretend they really care. They're going to trick you. Even when they have the evidence that says they're doing it, you still won't care, and you'll still vote for a corrupt system, thinking this time it will change. It's like an idiot where there's a box, and every time you open the box, a fist comes out and punches you in the face. How many times do you have to continually open it and continually get punched in the face before you say, you know what? I shouldn't open that box. Instead, what do people do? They open the box, it punches them in the face, and it closes again. You say, oh, well, let me check again. Open the box, it punches you in the face, it closes again. You know what? I don't think it'll happen again. Open the box, punches you in the face, closes. Oh, well, you know what? I just called the manufacturer, and they said, oh, it's not supposed to do that. They fixed it. Oh, okay. Open the box, punches you in the face. And you think that might sound stupid, but isn't that what we're doing with politicians? Isn't that what we've been doing? I've told people, they talk about the energy and everything. They've been talking about it since the days of Richard Nixon. That was back in the 60s. Do we have the average car battery operated and solar paneled? Do we have turbine engines and wind technology in your backyard? Are they all over the place? They could take a phone and turn it basically into a computer in the span of 2 or 3 decades, but they can't make a car that's been around since the early 1900s and convert it into something other than a gas-guzzling and oil-using machine? Are you telling me we don't have that technology? We have cell phones that are computers. You could see a person and talk to them all over the world. It's a calculator. It's a camcorder. It's all these different things in one. And when did the first real cell phones start coming out to the general public? Back in the 80s. So in 30 years, some odd, we went from phones that were these huge things with battery-powered backpacks to something you can hold in your hand that you can physically look at a person that's in China from America at 3 o'clock in the morning and talk to them face to face. And yet we have the gas combustion engine, which has pretty much been unchanged since 1958. I mean, yes, you have more computer stuff on top of it, but it's still the same combustional engine. Is that because the corporations that make oil and extract gas from the planet are paying the politicians to not legislate any laws against it, to not let any of those technologies ever see the light of day? These are the people you want to trust? Oh, they'll put a smile on their face. They'll kiss your baby. They'll tell you how wonderful things are and how wonderful things are going to be. I don't blame them. I blame not you guys, but 99% of the people who don't get it. I blame you. You can't blame the box that you open that punches you in the face. Yes, if somebody designed a box that if you open it, a hand comes out and punches you in the face, that's pretty bad. That's mean. That's wrong. It shouldn't have happened. But if you're dumb enough to repeatedly open it, it's not the box's fault you're stupid. You know, at one point I wanted to do about the peace and love and, you know, we all got to get along and everything. Maybe that's somebody's way of programming us. Oh, just look the other way. Turn the other cheek. We're going to rob from you. We're going to lie from you. We're going to hurt you. We're going to take everything you own. We're going to pin you down and make you our slaves. Just hug us. Sing Kumbaya. Hug a tree while we rape you. It's amazing. I still don't want to wish injury or pain on anybody because there's always a better way, because you can't fight fire with fire. But you can't look away from a burning building either. You got to put it out. So they either teach you on the one extreme, be violent, start a revolution, start a riot, go shooting people. That's 100% wrong. The other side, oh, be peaceful, just meditate, just be to yourself, love everyone. That's avoiding the issue. So we got to find a peaceful way to get these traitors and these enemies out of our lives, and then we will have better lives. Until then, we're going to keep wishing that the next person's going to come along and save us. So like I said, you can't put out, if your house is on fire, you could not put out the fire with more fire. But you also can't put out the fire by ignoring it and pretending it's not there. I don't understand how other people don't get it. And it's amazing how many people are listening right now. 28 people actually give a shit. I applaud you. I'm sure there's one or two that are sitting there, oh, I wonder if he's going to go crazy. I wonder if he's going to do something stupid. No, I'm talking reality. If you don't like reality, well, you know, go to your happy place. See how well that changes the world. Go right now and do your yoga, do your meditation, and tell me when you get out of your meditation that all of a sudden the world is better, that the politicians all of a sudden became better. We're being lied to in so many different ways, it's not even funny. And that's what I'm learning the more and more I research this stuff. It's because the idea is to either get you scared and do nothing, or distracted and do nothing, or so violent, then they can create more laws to imprison you even more. So they'll scare you or anger you, or they'll entice you. Either way, you're bought and sold. Now, I obviously don't have all the solutions, but one of the biggest ones is when we all decide to walk away from this, we're no longer in a corrupt system. If you go to a casino and you know the dealers are rigging the game, well, I don't care how much you complain. I don't know how many picket sides you hold up or how you try and play the game better. You're always going to lose. You want to not lose? Leave. Don't play the game. Because if you are going to tell the owner of that casino that the dealer is corrupt, oh, they'll probably, oh, okay, you know, we'll look into it, we'll investigate it, don't worry. They won't give you your money back, but they'll tell you all you want to hear. They might even let him go. And then just have him work at another casino or work at another department. That's why Hillary is still running for president. So they're basically telling you, look, we can do all the things you can't. And while you get punished, while you get thrown in jail, while you get penalized, our people will get rewarded. And we'll throw it in your face. Here it is. Here's emails proving the very thing that people have been claiming that the media has been saying was conspiracy, and the people have been saying is a conspiracy, and people have been laughing all this time, and oh, wait a minute, it's actually true. Who would have thought? And they still allow them to continue. Just imagine if somebody, and I hope it never happens, somebody murders someone in your family, and then they get away with it. You're like, oh, okay, I guess they're okay. I'll let them continue. You can keep cleaning my house. It's okay. I mean, come on, people. Bernie Sanders used his people. He knew all along that it was a corrupt system, and so was trying to convince a whole bunch of people that probably wouldn't have voted, or at least didn't vote for Hillary, because how many people that are on the Bernie Sanders bandwagon are still saying they don't want Hillary? I mean, when Bernie Sanders himself, after his quote-unquote defeat, he made his speech, and I have a video showing it, and they were cheering him the whole time until he said we need to vote for Hillary. They all booed him. They don't want Hillary, so they would have never voted for Hillary. But you know what? A few of them will. So, lost leader, you've been suckered in. It's like, oh, well, you're already here. You might as well. Come on board, little doggy. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So I'm going to read these two comments, and then we'll go from there. I always appreciate people that take the time to want to have comments. But 777, he's the only one that commented, so I appreciate that. He says, actually, there are people benefiting from this economy, the ones making the rules mostly. Absolutely. You ever see a homeless person become president, mayor, senator, governor, anything? No. What do they all in common? On Democratic side, Republican side, Libertarian side, they're all wealthy. Do you think Bernie Sanders is poor? You think he's going home to his one-bedroom apartment? Don't think so. He's going to go home and write a nice little book that people are going to buy. And he's going to give the whole, oh, woe is me, you know, the system was rigged. Well, if that's the case, he should have quit. As soon as he found out he got confirmation of all the things he said, you know what, I walk away, I quit. But no, he joined the devil. What does that tell you about his integrity? So yeah, There's definitely people that benefit. They benefit off of the stupidity and the gullibility and the trust and the naivety of the average person. Because you don't even know what the word citizen is. Citizen means you are part of a corporation. You are a person. And if you look up the legal term of person, it means you are a corporation with some of the rights of a human being. So I guess people like some of the rights when you could have them all. But people say, oh, look, they give us all this stuff. Well, you know what? Instead of getting a bunch of stuff that they want to give you, which, by the way, they give you food stamps, which is just enough to buy you all the GMO and genetically modified foods and garbage stuff that you can barely afford. So, yeah, here's a bunch of free crap. Oh, you want free shots? Okay, we'll fill you with mercury. We'll have more and more people have more birth defects with all the stuff that we put in you. Free health care? Sure. It's not free, though. Look how much it's gone up. I don't have Obamacare. And I will not get Obamacare. And my accountant every year tells me I get penalized because of Obamacare. They took out $300. But you know what? That's a hell of a lot less than what it would be if I was paying every month. Screw that. I'm not putting it in. I don't participate in crimes. But people, oh, I guess we have to do it. Do you ever look up the toll-free number for Obamacare? Go look up the number for 1-800, whatever it is, for Obamacare, and look at the letters. It spells 1-800-fuck you. Only one letter's missing because I used to work for a phone company back in the days. It's not very easy to get numbers and letters to match because a lot of people have a lot of numbers. So if you actually look it up, and it's not even a joke, go look it up. They never even changed it. Go to the government website of Obamacare, look at the toll-free number, and look at the letters that spell each one. There will be a space, and there's one letter missing, but it says, fuck you. I have a video on it. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere in here. But you could look it up yourself. So if you want to keep getting used, yeah, Hillary will be your woman. Vote for her because you're a woman, or you want to believe in the corruption, or because you don't like Trump. Or vote for Trump because he's not Hillary and he's telling you everything that you want to hear. And get ready for some nice fighting. Get ready for prices to go up. Get ready for either that or him be assassinated. And then you have a regular politician now that's our leader. I'm sure it'll just be a coincidence. So there's another question. 777 says, one needs to understand that they now know that no one government is going to hold them accountable after the FBI stood down. Of course. Of course. And yet they're still allowing it to happen. There is no outrage. There are still people cheering. This happened before Hillary Clinton got her acceptance speech. Anybody booing? Anybody walk away? Anybody not fill in the seats? FBI, it was basically, if you watch the interview of the FBI, the politicians that were there were giving them some nice grilling questions. In the end, she got away with something that we wouldn't. And that's why, when it comes to politics and media, do as we say, not as we do. Most people, and again, when I say you, I don't mean you guys who are listening. I'm talking about the people who don't give a shit. Your lapdogs. Go watch your video games. Go watch your PewDiePie. Go watch your ridiculous videos that will do nothing. Keep pretending all the stuff is wonderful. Get all your free stuff. And when the economy collapses, sit there all surprised and dumbfounded that you didn't see it coming. Idiots. People, on average, are idiots. And I used to get offended and worried when people would call me crazy when I talked about the fact that the politicians are bought and sold and that the news media is bought and sold. I used to get so many attacks. I don't get that many of them anymore. Why? Because it's now been proven, which doesn't mean this is the first time ever. It just means it's the first time ever that they were actually not able to hide it. They'll throw the people under the bus. Remember, there is no honor amongst thieves. So Hillary used that woman to do all that dirty work for her. And then once it got caught, Hillary was like, oh, I didn't know. And they had her step down. And what did she do? She rehired her for something else. There's your reward. You took a little booze. Boo-hoo. I'm sure that hurt her. Oh, here's a couple of $100,000 from the taxpayers' money that they won't know about. Thanks for your part. She'll be back. insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I guess in a way I must be insane as well, because I'm still doing the same thing over and over again, trying to actually educate the people, expecting them to actually get it, and obviously the majority don't. So I guess I must be just as insane. But at least I have self-realization. It's not going to stop me, though. One last question. We have Russell Hall, which, by the way, if you ever want to ask questions, all you have to do is go on my Google Plus account. So if you're not on my Google Plus account, just follow me. And when you see the live feed on the Google Plus account, you just click on it, and you have a way to ask questions. It used to be on the YouTube you could do it, but YouTube doesn't like things easy. So they want to make it more difficult, which makes perfect sense. But Russell Hall says, what people don't know, that book, A Wizard of Oz, is about government corruption. Absolutely. Did you know, I'll even talk about that a little bit with The Wizard of Oz. Did you know that The Wizard of Oz, she was originally not supposed to have ruby slippers? They were supposed to be silver. So what road did she have? A yellow road. What color is gold? It's a yellow color, isn't it? So she was supposed to have silver slippers, and she was supposed to follow the golden road to the Emerald City. Now, the Emerald City is green. I wonder what color money is. Let me see. Oh, it's mostly green, isn't it? Follow it to the money. And what happens? She needs heart, she needs bravery, and she needs brains to figure out the scary monster at Oz. Because remember, she goes to visit the Wizard of Oz. In other words, the person who is the leader of the land called Oz. When they get there, they see this terrible, scary head that's on fire. That is what everybody thought was the Wizard of Oz. And he basically scares the living crap out of them and makes them do their bidding. And in the end, they find out that it's just a man behind a curtain. And she had the power to go home all along. That movie was actually made to make fun of the government. But because people are so stupid, and we're all stupid when we're young, I'll be the first to admit, I used to love that movie. But as we get older, we start to realize these things. And the problem is when you're young and you could do the most harm or the most benefit, you're too busy on your cell phones. You're too busy on your Pokemon Goes, even though there are people falling off cliffs and, going onto people's property. We got millions of idiots going around. Now, I can understand if Pokemon Go, for example, if all of a sudden you had a top prize of $1 million, at least give you a reason. What do you get when you play Pokemon Go? Pokemon characters. Ooh. This is what our world has turned into. A bunch of zombie morons looking at their cell phone to track an invisible cartoonish character that does nothing for you than bragging that you got some Pokemon. Never played that game, never will play that game. And if that offends you, you're part of the problem. If you're playing Pokemon Go to the point of obsession where you see people driving in vehicles, getting into car accidents. There is a video you can check out, and I don't have the link, and I'm not going to post it because I don't have it. But there was a couple of cops, and they had cameras on their helmets or shoulders, whatever, and they're all outside their cars talking on the side of the street. And all of a sudden, this minivan comes crashing into the cop car, smashes it right in front of them. Ends up, not only was the person playing Pokemon Go while he's driving and his kids are in the back of the van, he actually comes out of the car with the cell phone on, telling everybody how stupid he was for playing that game. So he openly admits it. That shows the level of intelligence our youth has become. You're being brainwashed to the point. Why do you think Twitter and all these places, they let you have, 140 characters? So you can't use a lot of thought. You have to abbreviate the text speak. They're turning you into a bunch of idiots. And you don't understand it. And they're like, oh, this old person doesn't know what he's talking about. You'll find out. Because I remember when I was a kid, all the old people that tried to tell me about all the corruption, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. We do know what we're talking about because we've been there, we've experienced it. By the time you realize it, you'll be old too, and then no one will believe you. That's how it continues for generation upon generation. So Trump is going to be the next JFK, or Hitler is going to Hitlery, they might as well call her. Hillary will be the next Hitler. She wants to take away your rights to the guns, wants to get all these people coming in illegally. See, I don't have a problem with people coming into this country because obviously we all came here from another country. Unless you are Native American Indian, guess what? You're not Native American. You came from Europe or Asia or somewhere else. You just got here earlier than everybody else. My family's Irish, English, and Italian. That means we came from Ireland, Italy, and England. We're not Native Americans. We seem to forget these things, like all the time. Oh, remember that Florida shooting? That was the biggest massacre ever in the United States history. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't we slaughter and create genocide to the American Indians? Wasn't it our government that did that? Oh, but let's not talk about that. Shh. We can't talk about the truth. We don't say it, and people won't look it up, so they won't remember, and they'll believe what we say. Because, remember, ladies and gentlemen, not telling the truth is the same as lying. So maybe that's what I have to do. I have to make videos where I sound like I'm a person that just complains and bitches and moans until maybe somebody out there gets that aha McFly moment and says, wow, this is corrupt. They proved it, and yet they're still allowed to continue. It's amazing how much these super wealthy, powerful people get away from. And Russell Hall just said, and I've said this before, it's absolutely true. Russell Hall just said the movie Idiocracy is becoming true. Absolutely. If you've never seen the movie Idiocracy, it's IDIOCRACY. Go watch it. The people get dumber and dumber to the point where they ultimately create their own demise. The movie Idiocracy is becoming a future documentary. And people want to laugh. You want to party, you want to drink, you want to have fun, you want to do your sexting, you want to go on Twitter, you want to see what the latest reality movie is going to be all about. You want to watch your next reboot because that doesn't take talent. You want to have those nice flashy images with the nice special effects. Forget about the fact that there's no story. Forget about the fact they keep using the same thing over and over again. They just make it different. You don't want the diversity. They want everybody to think the same, look the same, act the same. You can control people a lot easier when you are physically sheep. Look at all the sheep in the world and all the cattle in the world. They pretty much look the same, don't they? They pretty much act the same, and they're easily led to their own slaughter. They're so stupid you could put a gun right to their head and they wouldn't even know what it was until by the time they figure it out, they're already falling to the ground. And that's what we're becoming. But they'll make you feel pressured. They'll give you plenty of free stuff to make you go along with it. They'll give you all these wonderful gadgets that'll have some great ideas to them, but they'll totally be able to check you. I mean, we're still comfortable. We're so comfortable in the fact that the government is listening to us that we don't even notice it or care about it anymore. If you have a cell phone that's older than the 90s, guess what? Your phone is being listened to. If you have an internet connection right now, especially wireless, you have a wireless internet, anybody can connect in. You just got to need to know how. I still use a landline. I have mine connected to a wire. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't stop people, but it doesn't make it as easy. But, keep getting all the free stuff. Keep looking at all the special sales. You look at Black Friday, like I talked about earlier, when they have, that $199 TV. What you don't realize is that company works overseas, so it used to probably be in America, but because of all the taxes and unfair regulations that are meant to purposely squeeze out our people, they go overseas where they don't have to pay taxes, they don't have to pay people anything near what we'll pay, because we as Americans want to get paid for what we do. Remember that $15 an hour raise minimum wage people want? Well, you're not going to have to pay that over in China. You could probably pay 15 cents an hour for people. And then you could get cheaper labor. You don't have to pay taxes. You don't have the same regulations, so you can make the stuff crap. That's why everything breaks. But it'll be cheap. But yeah, give me that $199 TV, even though it'll last a year or two. I'll just buy another one. Who cares about the people that have the suicide nets around their buildings? If you don't know what suicide nets are in China, I highly recommend you look it up, because no one on TV will tell you about it. No politician will tell you about it. They do plenty of business with China, because you can get a lot of free stuff there. They can put stuff in unregulated, so you get all that asbestos in your kids' toys, but they were cheap as you poison your children. Got to get that cheap stuff. Poison's cheap. Got to get those chicken McNuggets. Got to get that Happy Meal. It's got to make you happy, even though it's filled with garbage. So, there will be some people that appreciate that stuff. There will be others that say, oh, that's Chris just bitching and moaning. Yeah, I'm bitching and moaning because the stupidity of the majority of the people in this world are making my life not able to have the potential it has, because I would love us all to thrive instead of a few of us to thrive. Because here's the other part, and I found it funny. You know, I talk about the fact of where's the cars that we see in the Jetsons. And I actually did a lot about this investigating, and you could research this yourself. You ever see the movie? Oh, there's a made-for-TV movie that was the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones. And I've said this story before, but I get a lot of new people all the time, and you're going to find this one ironically funny. Now, you ever notice in the cartoon, the Jetsons, they had a lot of technology. You had flying cars and buildings above the ground. You ever notice you never saw the ground? There was a lot of smoke all the time. Anyone ever stop and think that the reason they were so high above ground, they never showed the ground, is because it was probably so polluted they couldn't stay there anymore and they had to rise above it? Well, here's another fun fact. The Flintstones was not set in the past. It was actually set in the future, because if you watch the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones, Elroy, which is George Jetson's son, actually creates a time machine, which they want to go in the past, but it got set into the future. And they kid around in the beginning of the movie saying it must have malfunctioned. So the Flintstones are actually the prediction of the future. That what they're saying is technology gets so far that we ultimately destroy ourselves, and the few people that survive have to start over again. And all you have to do is watch the TV show The Walking Dead to see that. Because when The Walking Dead first started, they still had tanks, they still had the cars, they still had electricity, they had all those wonderful luxuries. But now when you get towards season 7, they're riding on horseback, they're running out of bullets, they can't find canned food anymore. So now they have to go scavenge and start growing stuff. You see the different communities, they're growing their own food, they're making their own weapons. So they're going back to the Stone Age. It's all a circular motion. So the whole Jetsons and the Flintstones is what they're telling you is we will get to the point where we're so technologically advanced that we'll destroy the planet, destroy ourselves, and the people that survive will have to start over again. So the Flintstones wasn't set in the prehistoric past. It's actually set in the future. That's why you have movies also like Planet of the Apes. What happens in the Planet of the Apes? Well, it ends up that the main character that survives the whole movie actually goes 300 years into the future, thinks he lands on another planet until he finds at the end, spoiler alert, the Statue of Liberty. So he actually found out that when he went into the future, the planet destroyed itself from a nuclear attack or whatever, and the monkeys developed into the next dominating species. That's what's going to continue to happen. They're going to use you for as long as they can. They're going to mislead you. They're going to trick you. They're going to tell you everything that you want to hear. They're going to give you a bunch of free stuff that one day you'll have all that money that you were bought and sold with, and then all of a sudden that currency is going to collapse. And they go, "Oh, you have $1 million? Oh, sorry, we don't take those anymore." But you could use them as toilet paper, or if you want to slit your wrist, I heard paper cuts can get pretty deep. And then the people will be, "Oh my God, this is a shock. How did this happen? I thought everything was great. The president told us it was great. And I was believing him." Well, as Forrest Gump once said, stupid is as stupid does. And Russell Hall said really quick, and yeah, this is true, most of the comic books are now printed in China. Gee, what a surprise. Why do you think they want digital comics? Because then they won't even have to do that anymore, just like they want digital currency. They don't even have to have the machines to print the paper. But you'll get plenty of it. They'll give you plenty of free stuff. Just keep playing along. Come on, Hansel. Come on, Gretel. Get your free candy. Come on, Pinocchio. You don't have to go to school. You can come, Joe, shoot some pool. Go smoke some cigars. You jackass. Donkey. I don't know when people will learn. But until the people learn, the majority are going to screw up this planet that I live on. So yeah, I'm aggravated by their stupidity. And you should be too. And instead of giving up or just giving in and say, you know what, well, Trump sounds better or Hillary sounds better, so I'm just going to vote for him and I'll wish for the best. How about you don't participate? How about you shut down the system? How about you spend all of your days educating people? Because when people say, what am I doing? I am helping to wake up the masses by using my gift of the ability to speak in ways that some people appreciate. But because YouTube silences people like me and many others, that's why you'll never see millions of views in these kind of videos. It makes my job harder. But a lot of things that I got laughed at for, and many people got laughed at for, is all proven to be true, and they're worried about how the emails got there and not what's in the emails. That's why Hillary is not, yet again, being investigated. How many more times does she have to do something corrupt before they actually send her to prison or do something? They never will. She could literally, in the middle of her speech, pull out a gun and shoot somebody in the side of the head right on live camera, and they'll find a way to not indict her. Just think about this, guys and girls. Keep having your emotions be played. And if you haven't watched this whole video, listen to the whole video. You know, I want people here with an attention span larger than 3 minutes. I want people that care enough to pay attention to what's important. And people are always saying, oh, your videos are too long. Well, the ones that have a problem with it say it. Well, you'll go to a movie. I guarantee you that same person will go to the movie Sausage Party and go spend 90 minutes of their time with that. At least here you might learn something different. What are you going to learn from Sausage Party other than you just wasted $12 to $20 to watch a fucking bunch of hot dogs and vagina-shaped hot dog buns running around? I'm sure you'll learn a lot there. But please, don't let my videos ruin your day. So again, I want to thank all the people that are watching. I'm actually amazed. I think it's because I'm doing one of my rants that people are like, oh, let's see what Chris is bitching about. I wonder how many actually do care. If you care, put it in the comments section. And if you care enough to put that in the comments section, then I'm going to ask you to show this kind of video to friends, family, and coworkers, or make your own videos, or pass it along and share it. Get the information out. And this is the type of people I appreciate. Sunbeam's Sting says, your vids are never too long for me. And I appreciate that. And I'm the same way. I will watch videos that are 3 hours long. I've watched videos that are 6 hours long that have given information that will help improve my knowledge. Every now and then I'll watch a stupid video because I've got to balance it out, because if you watch too much serious stuff, it'll affect you emotionally. So you have to balance it out every now and then. So every now and then I'll watch something just utterly ridiculous just to entertain myself for a minute or two and, you know, balance everything out. Because remember, yin doesn't exist without yang. Negative cannot survive without positive. Light cannot live without dark. You have to have the contrast. So that's all I have to say. Believe what you want. Vote for who you want. If you think your vote is actually going to change a thing, and you think either one of these politicians is going to change anything, they're going to make change. But it ain't going to be change that you're going to like, and it's definitely not going to be change that's going to help you. So yes, Donald Trump has a theme of we're going to make America great again. He doesn't say for who. And Hillary says she's a change maker. I'm sure you'll have plenty of change in your bank account. There's definitely no interest in there. You know, and they keep talking about, again, the stupidity of people. They keep talking, the Fed keeps talking about, the politicians keep talking about, the media will keep talking about eventually how they're going to raise rates. How much money? We owe almost $20 trillion in debt. And the reason that we're not collapsing on that is we have, what, 0% interest at this point? Just imagine if interest rates went up to 4 or 5%. How much more interest we would be paying on that debt. You think they're going to allow that? But they'll keep telling you. Why? Because it keeps gold and silver down. Because the stupid people out there that invest in the paper gold and silver manipulated market, which has been repeatedly said over and over again, but of course, that's crazy until we find the WikiLeaks emails for that. But again, they'll call the people terrorists that actually put out that information, not the fact that it's actually been confirmed to be corrupted. Russell Hall says, Bill Clinton got away with rape, so the laws only apply to us, not them. Of course, when he was given his lovely speech the other night, oh, and the girls loved it. You could watch the video and how they zoomed into all the women. They're all sitting there with that eager look in their eyes and that smile and almost teary-eyed. Oh, that's so romantic. And he's talking about how, first of all, he went to go grab her. Remember when he said that? And women didn't, like all those feminists didn't have a problem right there? What do you mean you grabbed her? You didn't know her. You didn't have no right to do that, but let's pretend, because we like the Democrats, those Democratic people, we're going to let it slide. He talks about how he wooed her and kept going to get her married and wouldn't give up. And he didn't talk about that one section where he had some, like a little assistant, give him a little what? A little B and a J? But he's a devoted husband, and all the women are sitting there, and I'm not just saying it. Go look at that speech that he did. Watch how they purposely panned into the audience, and they only panned in on women mostly, and they're all sitting there with their smiles, and they've got that, oh, God, that's so beautiful. Didn't mention once about the fact that he was basically screwing other women while he was married, while he was president, while he was supposed to be in office. Well, no problem with that, because he's a politician. He gets to get away with it. Just imagine if you were at your job. Just imagine if you're an air traffic controller and your boss walks in to see you behind your desk with a girl giving you a little friendly hello. You don't think you'd be fired right on the spot? You probably would. But what do these people get? $1 million speech endorsements. Candidacy for election for president. Continue to keep their job. These are the people we cheer for. And yet, the people like me and others who speak out against this stuff, we're the idiots. We're the crazy ones. We're the tinfoil hat conspiracy people. The only reason you came up with tinfoil hats is because somebody in the media came up with it. It was in that friggin' movie, Signs. I've never seen a person ever wearing a tinfoil hat, because if anything, if you're going to wear any kind of metal, you would want it copper, because at least copper is a conductor of electricity, and since you are electrical beings and your brain is basically an electric computer, well, having copper around your head would actually charge up your computer system, wouldn't it? But they want to make you think it's crazy, because if you say tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, most people that are ignorant will say, oh, I don't want to go near that person, they're crazy. That's how you keep truth away from people. So as usual, I've said 50 times I'm going to end this, so this time I actually am. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen. If you want to take the time to comment, I always appreciate that. If you want to give it a thumbs up, it really helps. So please, if you enjoy these kind of things, please give it a thumbs up. I'm not doing that because I need extra revenue or anything like that. It gets it out there, because the more traffic this has, the more people can actually see it. And I know very few people will share it. And I thank the people who do, because it does help. I can't do it without you. I don't ask for donations. I don't ask for money. I don't ask for anything. The only thing I ask for is either make your own videos or help support mine to get the information out there. You know, there's so many different hypocritical places that will, you know, especially like bullion dealers that'll tell you how great gold and silver is, but they sell you the very thing that they want to promote. I don't do that. So thanks for listening. Have a great day. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Peace.